This last week, there was an oil spill not far from where we're filming this. In Huntington Beach, got hit pretty hard by the oil. And in the wake of that, some consumer advocates and environmental activists are pushing for Governor Gavin Newsom to stop allowing for offshore drilling, especially so close to the coast. In fact, he's been pretty supportive of this industry since taking office. Newsom has dispensed 138 oil permits for operations in state waters, including 5 new drilling permits and 133 permits to perform work on existing offshore wells. The governor has been even more prolific with onshore oil permits, issuing more than 9,000 drilling permits since taking office at the start of 2019. God, I hope he doesn't have to sign those individually. It's so bad that in fact, more than 2 million Californians live within half a mile of an oil well, while 7 million live within a mile of one. And I can believe that because I literally drive on a street past a bunch of drilling going on. And so he's been supportive, but he certainly wants you to believe that he cares about the climate, and especially in the wake of the spill, that he cares about that as well. And so we want to show you a video. The producer who edited this made the note that he's doing a pretty good Obama impersonation. I think that really comes through.
This is a moment to remind all of us that this does not have to be our future. That we still have to do more. We're gonna have to do more. We're doing that on fracking now. We've got to do that in more oversight. We've got to do that on more permits for abandonment, less permits for reworking and for new drilling. We recognize our obligations in that space. Health and safety setbacks, all of those things, I assure you, are on the table and very much part of the conversation we're having with renewed sense of urgency because of this latest spill.
Okay, so Gavin Newsom obviously is having to deal with the fact that we just had this spill. The footage looked really bad, and activists are fired up. And of course, you know, he's a guy who has national political aspirations. So if he wants to run as a Democrat, he's supposed to pretend to care about the environment. And so all that's good. But bear in mind that the other side has also been active. In the first quarter of this year, the industry spent more than $4.3 million on lobbying. A significant portion of that was designed to oppose legislation that would bolster the state's progress towards reducing greenhouse gas emissions and impose tighter regulations. In fact, we have 9 companies or associations, each spending more than $100,000 lobbying in this quarter. And so that's a lot of money. They're not spending it thinking it has no chance of succeeding and getting either the state legislature or the governor on their side. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, so first of all, Gavin Newsom is unbearable. I told Brett who told you that he's doing an Obama impression.
Oh, okay.
And I wish I hadn't, because I couldn't pay attention to what he was saying because he was so clearly doing an Obama impression. It was distracting, right? I mean, these guys are such bad actors. Their politicians are just people who couldn't get a job in Hollywood, especially out here in California. And like, I can't believe the press can't see through this guy. He's talking about, oh my God, we got to stop it with the permits for drilling. You approved 9,000 of them.
It's the hot dog man meme in real time.
It's unbelievable. And you did 130, I like John's impression there. So you approved 138 offshore drilling permits, and you're complaining about offshore drilling. Well, golly gee, I wish there was something you could do about it. And why does he get away with it? Because he's a corporate Democrat.
Yeah.
And if you're a Democrat, especially in California, the press will let you say anything you want and will never hold you accountable. If you're a progressive, then they'll come for you, okay? There is no more corporate press in the country than California press. So I mean, isn't there a single reporter? We're gonna hire a reporter in California. I can't take it anymore, okay? Because why don't you ask him about the permits he approved? He's approved over 9,000 of them. As he's like, I can't believe that they are doing this. You know what? Who one of his top donors is? Chevron. Of course. Why didn't you ask him about Chevron? Why did you take money from Chevron? I mean, one time, just one time, a reporter asked him about PG&E, because PG&E is the energy company that starts all the fires because they won't pay. They didn't pay the money to put the wires underground, so they keep falling in storms and creating these giant, ridiculous fires in California. They're just absolutely disastrous. And not only does Gavin Newsom do nothing about it, he does bailouts of PG&E after every time. You want to know how much money he took from PG&E? $10 million over his career.
Damn.
A reporter once asked him, and he gave him a mansion. He's like, how dare you? What does that mean? What do you mean, how dare you? Let's get real reporters to ask politicians real questions. Okay, by the way, his other giant donor, Blue Cross Blue Shield. And well, look at that. Gavin Newsom's among the Democrats blocking single payer in California. These are all wild coincidences. Okay, I mean, I don't know how a reporter would ever make the connection. Seems outrageous. But his fake acting gets under my skin like nothing else.
Yeah.
When he pretends to be concerned, when he did that stupid, everybody's sick here in California of the trash that's piling up everywhere. And did he actually fix it? No, but he did 2 photo ops of himself in a tight t-shirt, throwing trash heroically, like and he did it for like 5 minutes. And the reporters, instead of saying, what the hell is this stupid photo op for 5 minutes, were like, Gavin Newsom cleans up California. It's absurd, it's absurd. And so, like the recall happened, now he's riding high. He thinks, I won the recall easily. We're not gonna vote for a Republican lunatic Trump supporter in California. God damn it, give us another option.
Come on, squad, let's make this happen.
All right, let's see what happens. I'm gonna give you what he can do because there's activists and progressives who actually know what he can do, and it's actually really simple. I'll get to that in a second, but Ben, jump in.
I mean, honestly, Naomi Klein argued in one of her books that Democrats like this are a huge part of the problem when it comes to climate deniers, because when climate deniers see people like Gavin Newsom talk about how serious climate change is and then turn around and say, no, you change your light bulbs, but we are not gonna change like what we're doing with these oil companies or anything like that. We can't, no big structural changes, right? Like, how can you go around telling people that we're facing like one of the most existential threats that humanity has ever faced? Literally, global human extinction is like a real mathematical possibility at this point. Yeah. And they're telling people like, you change your light bulbs, but I am not gonna stop taking millions of dollars from oil companies. Like, you can see how right wingers can point to that and then fuel this climate denial. And I think that really is, I think more people need to start blaming people like Gavin Newsom for the existence of climate deniers, because what he's doing is a form of climate denial.
Yeah,
100%, and it's happening on his watch.
Okay, you were talking about coincidences. I want to give you one last coincidence. I know we don't have much time, but I saw this right before we went live and I thought it was really interesting. So we talked about the lobbying inside of California. They don't want California to do anything more about climate change, but they also don't want the climate change provisions in the infrastructure bill. And so according to federal disclosures, API and its front group Energy Citizens spent more than $2 million in the first half of this year directly lobbying members of Congress. And they spent 7 figures on television advertisements targeting Build Back Better provisions. And I have no idea what direct effect any of that particular lobbying has or any other donations made by coal companies and stuff like that. All I know is that Kyrsten Sinema, who will not tell you what her problem is with this bill, like she will not go on the record, suddenly has indicated one thing that she wants to cut. $100 in proposed climate funds, in particular to make some of the socioeconomically weakest communities climate resilient. So the attempts to make them more resistant to the pollution and the climate change and all that, she wants to take away that funding, $100 billion. And what do you know? What do you know?
It's corruption, just say it, it's obvious.
She was a Green Party politician and it's the climate funds she wants to cut.
Media, it's corporate Democrats that take money from oil companies. It's so obvious. Everyone knows it except you, and it's your job to know it. All right, so by the way, last thing, what do activists and progressives want in California? Joe Sandberg accurately described it here in his tweet. He says, stop waffling, Gavin Newsom. Our state's on fire and our coastline is covered in oil. This is California, for God's sake. Anyway, he continues, the people of California want to know, will you commit to the following? No new fossil fuel permits. We're not even talking about the old ones. That's such an easy one. Just don't give any new ones. Come on, you gotta be able to do that. And oil and gas production, that would be wonderful. There's no way Newsom's gonna do that because he's still taking money from those companies. But yes, that's what the people of California want. And 2,500-foot setbacks, another one that's really simple. The reason they're not set back is because they're usually in poor neighborhoods. And by the way, African American neighborhoods and Latino neighborhoods. And so they're like, what, are we gonna set it back just to help Black and Latino people? We're not gonna do that. We're just gonna make money and get a Democrat to come help us. And because if you put a Democratic face on it, then that takes away the criticism. And that's the great trick being played in California by corporate interests and the politicians that they fund.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.